Hey guys, welcome to the Asian Hustle Network podcast. My name is Brian.
And my name is Maggie.
And we interview Asian entrepreneurs around the world to amplify their voices and empower Asians to pursue their dreams and goals.
We believe that each person has a message and a unique story from their entrepreneurial journey that they can share with all of us. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Asian Hustle Network podcast. Today, we have a very special guest with us. His name is Leonard Lim. Leonard is a model, former athlete, and entrepreneur based in Seoul, South Korea. He is the founder of Kapsul Collective, a jewelry line, and CEO of Wild Entertainment, a hybrid entertainment group founded in August 2020 and home to numerous talents and content creators around the globe. Leonard, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad that you guys kind of reached out and we can find some. We talked about doing this talk about a month ago, huh?
Yeah.
So I'm glad we could finally connect and have a sit down.
Exactly. Yeah, we're so excited to have you on the show, man. And we want to hear more about your background, your upbringing. It's so unique. You know, you got to experience so many different parts of the world. We want to hear more about it.
Sure. Okay, so first off, I'm not Korean, even though I'm in Korea. I was born in Perth, Western Australia. Mm-hmm. Both of my parents are Singaporean Chinese. So, they were born in Singapore, moved to Australia to have me and my sister. That's why I sound like this. And I sound like I'm from Singapore. But yeah, Singaporean Chinese, and that's my heritage. I did all my school and college and everything in Australia. Mm-hmm. And then I actually went into like business and finance and banking because that's what I studied in Australia. Mm-hmm. And then I realized after about 2 years, it wasn't for me. So with my modeling and acting agency, they took me and they placed me in Singapore for about a year and a half. And that's when, I really started to dive deep into like the entertainment scene, the fashion scene, modeling, all that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, my first gig was with Abercrombie and Fitch in Singapore, and they really threw me in the deep end. Mm-hmm. They just the measurements came out, and they were just like, "Hey, listen, you're gonna have to come back in a month because your shoulders are not wide enough, or you gotta do more stuff." So I just went in the deep end there, and I'm quite, lucky that, I have quite a big build because my dad is quite tall. Mm-hmm. My dad is 6'1" and I'm 6'2". Wow. So, I was in swimming and I was an Olympic qualifier for swimming. And that kind of stopped as soon as I finished college because I was kind of like, I don't really. Honestly, training swimming, you're doing 10 times a week. That's 2 times, 2 times per day, whether it's in the pool, out of the pool, in the weight room or whatever. And that's your whole life. And so that ended when I was 22. Mm-hmm. After the London qualifiers. Was London 2012? London.
Yeah.
Qualifiers. Okay.
Yeah.
What year was this, by the way?
Sorry?
What year was this?
2012.
2012.
Yeah, that would have made me 22.
That's crazy.
Yes, it's like, man, honestly, it feels like such a long time ago now. Mm-hmm. But I kind of took that and then, I was in shape. So then I did modeling. Mm-hmm. And while I was modeling, that's with my finance and business background. That's when I started trialing small businesses here and there. So I had, I did everything. I did a personal training business. Uh-huh. And then, what else did I do? I had a cafe I invested in back in Australia. And then my parents, oversaw that cafe while I was in Singapore modeling and stuff. Another big learning experience that was for me. Mm-hmm. And then after maybe 2 years in Singapore, I went out to Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. Canada, right? Not the one in Seattle.
Yeah.
Washington.
Canada. That was random. That was really random. Why Vancouver was they call it North Hollywood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really is North Hollywood out there.
Yeah,
a lot of Asian people.
They film all the CW they film out in Vancouver, like Riverdale and all that type of stuff. So for an Australian, because I have an Australian passport, it's really easy for me to get a visa to stay in Canada. Mm-hmm. And it was like an online application. It was almost too quick.
We want you.
I looked it up and I was like, wait, come on, this can't be right. But before you turn before you're in your 30s, something like that, as long as you're in your 20s, you can apply and then you can get a visa. So I had a 2-year visa in Vancouver. I went out there and then I did modeling and acting and yeah, it just continued. I started, meeting more and more people. Mm-hmm. As soon as I hit Vancouver, I made a really good friend. Her name is Linda Dong and she's a YouTuber.
Yeah.
Because we were following each other on Instagram. And at that point, I wasn't a content creator. I was just posting modeling photos. Mm-hmm. I swear I'd used like the Abercrombie photo, like freaking way too many times. I was running out of content. You know what I mean? I was just like, at that point, I was like, come on, man.
Oh no, I'm plateauing. I take all the nice photo.
So then, we connected and then she was the first friend I made in North America, and for those 2 years, like we saw each other often. I was in a ton of her YouTube videos. I did a lot of like Fashion Week out in Vancouver. I did, some big campaigns like New Balance and stuff like that. It was like a portfolio building time. Mm-hmm. And during that 2-year period in Vancouver, I traveled back and forth to LA. And that's when I met, a whole bunch of the Asian American network that you guys have out there, and everyone's quite, community is really welcoming. Mm-hmm. I think I'm friendly. So like, I just made a whole bunch of friends over those 2 years. Actually, after the 2 years in Vancouver, I decided to move to LA for a year and a half. And same thing, still doing the same stuff. Except now, because I was making so many friends in, the Asian American community, whether they be YouTubers or actors or artists. Mm-hmm. Because of my connections out in Southeast Asia, Singapore, I was able to kind of, be a link, like a link between North America and Southeast Asia. And, I saw opportunity for that because actually a lot of the Asian American artists, actors, YouTubers, they have a huge audience in Southeast Asia. Mm-hmm. And they know that they can see their own demographics. So, I ended up finding them a lot of work just casually, just, I guess you could say, entertainment brokering is what I was calling it,
Talent.
It was just kind of fun stuff. And like, they would be happy. My friends would be happy. The, companies, PR, marketing agencies out in Singapore, they'd be very happy. I just did that for a little while. But things really like hit the floor running when I moved out here to Seoul. Mm-hmm. And it's been about 2.5 years for me now.
Oh, wow.
I was actually, gonna fly back to LA at the end of 2019 for good. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna stay in LA. Like LA is very me, I love the vibe there. The weather's good. Yeah. That's it. But then COVID was like, all right, you're not gonna do that. You gotta stay put. So lucky, I made a network out here in Seoul because of the network I had out in LA. So as soon as I came here, I was introduced to a whole bunch of people, and very quickly over the span of, I guess, say 6 months, I befriended a lot of people that wanted to, they proposed a lot of business opportunities for me, not only here, but also in LA to kind of like, to be the link.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of it was in K-pop, all of the English speaking K-pop idols, etc. We became very close and we started just, doing talking about a lot of ideas. But me having that business experience, I really wanted to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So instead of going out to LA, I decided to stay put here. And that's when I came up with Kapsul Collective.
Oh, wow.
And so Kapsul Collective essentially is a limited edition jewelry collection that we partner up with idols Korean singers, and we do the whole design process, the branding, everything with the artist, and we release it for a 2-week limited edition sale to their audience, to their fans, to anyone that thinks the jewelry is cool too.
That's really awesome. Smart. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's not just me. I'm the founder, but along with my friends Emily and Richard. It was a lot of hard work over 6 months. I didn't know anything about making jewelry, like fulfillment, manufacturing, lucky Richard is really good at marketing. We picked up, we worked hard, and I utilized a lot of my connections to have a couple of campaigns up and running. Yeah. So, to date, we've done, maybe like 7 or 8 campaigns, I think. But we could have done a lot more, but because of the past like 7-8 months I've had with Wild, I just haven't had the time to really produce more and more campaigns.
Yeah.
All the information is at kapsulcollective.com or at Kapsul Collective. But, it's really, really exciting. And this is the first place I'm actually going to say it out loud, but by the middle or probably the end of August, I will be releasing my Kapsul Collective line with Nikun from 2 p.m.
Oh, wow. Nice. Congratulations. Yes.
Thank you so much. I mean, me and him, we've been talking about it for like 6 months or something like that. Because we play golf together, and like we have that in common. So we're just like, one day I was just like, hey man, let's make some jewelry. He's like, okay. A lot of back and forth with JYP and stuff. Yeah, so we discussed that for like 6 months. Finally, we put it together, and the one we did right before Nikun was Amber Liu from FX.
Oh wow!
And that was a really good campaign too. And I feel like the reputation of Kapsul Collective is growing, and there's a lot of artists that I would love to work with. I mean, hopefully they see this. I mean, Eric Nam, Henry Lau, all of you guys, I want to get to that point where, we can all work together. But yes, that's been really successful, and it's honestly been a huge learning curve for me. Like I said, I don't know too much about e-commerce, but now I can confidently say that I know how to run an accessory line, a jewelry line. With a massive audience too. The K-pop audience is huge.
Yeah, you definitely capitalize at the right moment, and when we listen to your story just now, it's like a definition of an Asian hustler, man. It's you're doing one thing after another. And the fact that I think we haven't given you enough credit yet, the fact that you worked your job for 2 years and you're like, this is not what I want to do. I want to move on. Like, how many people can honestly say they're just going to move on, right? A lot of us stay in our jobs for a very long time before we look ourselves in the mirror and be like, what the hell am I doing with my life?
Yeah, because you were in finance, and a lot of people, I feel like, are scared to make that jump. And with all of the blogs and articles that Brian and I read about you, we know that you are very passionate about entrepreneurship, and you did have like a corporate job in finance. You had a 9-to-5, but you decided to make that jump because you knew that it wasn't right for you, right? I do want to know, where did you get that entrepreneurship personality from? Was it from your family, or do you think it was always, inside of you?
I'm also curious too, how did you get discovered? Like, your story kind of jumped from, I left my corporate job and then became a model. It's like, were you sitting at a cafe one day where it's like, hey, you want to be a model?
And
all right.
A lot of people want to be a model, but it's super hard. It's like really, really hard to get into that industry.
I mean, he's a 6'2", good looking Asian guy. I mean, outside.
Actually, while I was, I've been modeling since I was 16. That's when I was first discovered and scouted. It was at a swim meet. And it just so happened that the owner of like a very big modeling agency in Australia, I won that race. And so after that, they came up to me. They were just like, oh, hey, and I had my growth spurt at that point. I was I just grew like a lot. And they came up to me and they were just like, oh, we'd love to bring you in to take some digitals. And have you ever thought about being a model? And you're 16, you're kind of like, oh, Yeah, okay. Like, sure, let's do this. So, I was modeling while I was studying and while I was swimming. And then, after while I was working in finance, that's when I was kind of like, all right, well, how do I get out of this? How do I pivot from this 9 to 5 to, maybe trying something different? And at that point, the only, I guess, passive income or side income I was getting aside from finance was modeling. So I talked to my agency and they were just like, oh yeah, we've been wanting to take you to Singapore and Hong Kong and stuff. They placed me over there. And while I was in Singapore for that, 1 year, the first year, I was thinking like, okay, well, I can't make this into a full-time gig. Modeling is a really fickle industry and nothing is promised. Like I should try to discover and spend my time to learn business or try new things. So I guess going back to your question, Maggie, I think you asked this, you were saying like, has it always been in me? I don't think entrepreneurship so much, like that's something that I learned, entrepreneurship, but I think my need to always be doing something or like making good use of my time. That kind of led to me trying new things in entrepreneurship, and then being successful or small successes in entrepreneurship kind of just keeps pushing me further. But I think entrepreneurship is all about initiative, and I always say this to my team with Kapsul, my team with Wild, anyone that joins my team, whether that be a talent or a staff. I'd say initiative is like the main thing that I'm looking for, because like that's how I've gotten where I've come to at this point. It's just having the initiative to
taking action for sure.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, bring action. If you want something to happen or if you want something to progress, you got to think about it and like make a plan, just do it.
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah.
What did your parents say throughout this entire process? Like they're like, Leonard, what are you doing? Were they supportive? Were they not supportive? Were they trying to like steer you onto a safety path? Like, what was the parenting like?
My parents are really traditional, so like they wanted me to go into finance, make good money, look after everyone, buy a house.
Yeah.
And, I did that in the first 2 years, and while I was working in finance, I was like, okay, all right, I made money, I saved all this money, let's buy an apartment. I bought the apartment, and it's like, honestly, it's great. It's an okay investment, but going back to that time, I probably wouldn't do the same thing. Honestly, like now we're in a different day and age where, there's so many other things you can do, other than like, real estate as an investment. I still think it's a very good, safe, traditional investment. Don't get me wrong, but I would do it differently personally. So I did that. And then, I talked to my parents after about 1.5 years, and I was like, I don't want to be my boss in a year, in 2 years, 3 years. And I don't want to be my boss's boss in 8 years. So like, there's no point in me doing this. Like I studied hard. I got my, my double degree. And, I worked for 1.5 years, 2 years. So I've kind of solidified all of that time. Nothing's a waste. And I have a fallback plan. But, I think life shouldn't, you can't spend life doing something that you're not happy to wake up to. And I wasn't happy to wake up to it. Now I'm every day is different for me. And I'm very, very happy. I'm very blessed. But it's also so much hard work. It's more hard work than if I was working in finance, for sure. Yeah. Because, I put a lot of pressure on myself and my team to make things happen.
What is that saying they say? I quit my 9 to 5 to work 24/7. Yeah.
But you know what? Hey, the entertainment industry is really fun. It's really fun out here. So it kind of gets mixed into like, business and pleasure. Like I just said, the Nikon Kapsul campaign collection that's happened because you were playing golf, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
that's so awesome. I love these encounters that you just never expect, and it just sort of happens. And the one thing I do admire from you too is your ability to move to different countries, not just different states or different provinces or whatnot. You're moving to different countries, establishing business. Like how are you overcoming your own mental blockage to do something like this? Like you have like virtually no fear. You know, and we want to hear like how does Leonard get his confidence? Is it to realize your swimming experience where it's like you're practicing really hard, you trust your abilities? Like, how do you develop such confidence to be able to network like this and start companies in various countries? You know, that's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I mean, you have to keep just trying. Like I you know, there was a period of time where I was like, I'm just going to try things. And the more things you try and the more times things don't work out, you kind of pick yourself up and you're kind of, it wasn't that bad. You know, when it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, it wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are stuck in their heads thinking like, if I try something and it doesn't work out, like people are going to look at me like a failure or like I wasted my time, something like that. But you know, that helped me a lot because I realized that like, all right, well, I can try just about anything. If it works out, then great. If it doesn't, it's okay. Mm-hmm. And if you try enough times and you learn from, you know, the past attempts, you'll eventually get somewhere. It's all about work ethic and it's all about like moving forward and learning from each experience. Mm-hmm. It's really cliche to say. That's so cliche. When I just heard myself say it, it's really cliche, but it's true.
Let me write it down somewhere.
Yeah,
it's true though.
Yeah.
In terms of like doing business in a different country, it's really difficult. Like there is no lie there.
Yeah.
You know, I don't speak Korean fluently, so it is difficult. I have all of my staff speak Korean and English. Wow. That's important to me. The foundation of my business is my network, and I hold that very closely. You know, I believe I'm a good person. I believe that, you know, when I meet someone, I can make a good impression. And I genuinely believe that I can add value to, you know, 90% of situations, even if it's in my industry or if it's not in my industry. Mm-hmm. And because I believe so strongly in my accolades and my ability, you know, I guess some other people believed it too. So it just kind of, it worked from there. I have a very large community of friends, you know, and I realized, you know, probably by the end of my 20s, I was about 27, 28. I thought to myself, like, whoa, like I have a lot of friends, like I know a lot of people, and that's because I was out just having fun all the time, you know, like whether it's like lunch, dinner, drinks, cafe, like anything, I'd always be doing things. But I told myself, like, how sustainable is this? Like, you know, I can't possibly meet everyone. It's very hard for, you know, people to maintain relationships and friendships if you don't see that person often enough. Mm-hmm. So what I told myself was like, all right, well, if I start doing, you know, if I start a working relationship out of these friendships, you know, that'll solidify my relationship with them. Mm-hmm. So slowly I started like working relationships with close friends. And, you know, as long as everything is honest and transparent and like, you know, you can communicate effectively, everything works out fine, you know? So that way, you know, I didn't have to touch base with friends that I hadn't seen in 1 or 2 years. They knew that my capabilities in like, you know, the entertainment industry was valid. And, you know, we wouldn't have to meet each other every week, every month. Like if we catch up once a year, it's still okay because they know that like, all right, Leonard is credible when it comes to something like this. Mm-hmm. So I started slowly turning these friendships into working relationships. And a lot of people think that like, hey, working with friends, working with family is a bad idea. Mm-hmm. And in some way it can be. It really depends. But the main thing to curb that, because it's fantastic, I work with all of my friends, is if you communicate effectively. Yeah. It all comes down to, you know, transparency and really making it be known like, all right, what you're trying to do here.
Right.
And if you can communicate that very well, and there's never any problems, honestly.
Yeah. It really comes down to reputation, really,
Yeah.
and who you are and your accountability and authentic, being very authentic to everyone and yourself.
Mhm.
That's super, super important. And I think that you bring up a really good point too, because a lot of people are like, oh, networking is so important. Networking is your net worth. But you actually put your net worth to as translated into your net worth. So that's impressive for reals. And the fact that you keep on hustling, you keep on trying one idea to another idea. I'm kind of curious too, and I'm not sure you spoke anywhere else on like different podcasts, but like, how do you maintain your mental health? Because you're managing multiple teams, you're an influencer, you're an actor, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing everything, right? How do you take care of yourself? I want to hear more about that.
That's so interesting you say that, because we partnered, Wild Entertainment actually partnered with Psych2Go. And the Psych2Go is that, it's like the biggest like mental health platform. And I did a live with them actually, and they asked me the same thing. They were just like, how do you take care of your mental health? And I'm not going to lie, like there's been points where like I've been really like lonely, just thought to myself like, I'm tired. Like, I'm seeing a lot of people, but are these people genuine? So a lot of questions come in. And I think it's very normal for everyone to go through like, mental health struggles, like big or large, small or large. But how I deal with it is humor. Mainly like I feel like I surround myself with people who are very uplifting, very positive. And we always have a good laugh. And I always tell them like, all right, I'm not feeling so good. You just outright say it. Like, I'm tired. I can't do this today. I mean, that's how I've been dealing with it. If you talk about like, content creating, influencing and stuff, that's actually my source of entertainment. Like, when you make TikTok videos and you put on Instagram and stuff like that, like I don't feel because I don't think of myself as a creator or an influencer or anything like that. I use it as just my personality, my fun. You go on my Instagram page, you're not going to see anything really serious. You're not going to see me in a suit at the Kapsul Collective stuff. Although I've been trying to post more about my work, because it turns out a lot of people don't actually know about my work. They just think like I'm modeling and like, making content, but that's okay. I use my own personal Instagram just for fun. And I just, I try not to take things too seriously when it comes to like my own, personal platforms.
I love that you say that, because just like looking at your Instagram, we can see that fashion is like very important to you. And I know that you were trying to create a space for Asian men in fashion. And I think like the inspiration came from the fact that, there were very few places for like North American men to like glean inspiration from. I want to know, like, why was it so important for you to kind of express yourself in that way with fashion, and like what you were trying to achieve?
Let's talk about the male sexuality real quick. As we know, like most Asian men in media are demasculized and not shown as tough or strong. And I think that's a good topic for us to talk about too, and how it brought you to what you're doing right now.
I guess I would say we're talking about male sexuality.
Yeah. Like just the way male are perceived in mainstream media. It's like we're weak and, we're not as strong. We're not the main character, and it's all changing really rapidly.
Yeah. I'm really glad that, there's been a lot of changes happening. I feel like the Asian male or Asian representation is getting much better, and I love seeing it out, on the internet. But, growing up in Australia, there wasn't a lot of Asians where I'm from. There's a small community of Asians, but I didn't really mingle with the Asians. That wasn't by choice, which naturally, because I played a lot of sports growing up, I was with, all my friends were like white Australians. Can I say white Australians? That's cool, right?
That's good.
White, they were white. So like all my friends here, they were white. And they never they never treated me differently. I And I never felt like, that I wasn't like Asians were mistreated or not represented well. I never felt that. But then going to America and then, seeing everything in the media and then, everyone bringing it to light saying like, oh, why isn't there an Asian male lead? Why isn't there this, why aren't Asian males thought of as hot or attractive? And that's when I was like, oh, you're right. Like, they're really missing out on what Asian males have to offer. But I wanted, everyone to feel how I felt in Australia, which was like accepted, so I can't say that I've done a huge part to like, try to boost up, Asian male representation. Cause, I gave up the modeling and acting stuff. I don't really do that as much anymore. I'm focused on business. But, I have a lot of friends. I'm really proud of my friend, Jimmy Wong. Actually, I just watched his movie Wish Dragon and he was the voice of, I don't know what the character was named was, but he's the main character. He's the voice of it. And I got so hyped just seeing that. And I love watching Crazy Rich Asians. A lot of my buddies in Singapore were like the background supporting actors, because it's filmed in Singapore and Malaysia.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would have loved actually, maybe in another life, it would have been nice to go down the acting route.
It's not too late.
Yeah.
Back to LA. It's all here, man.
I wish there's not enough time in the day. I feel like gotta pick one route, and I love what I do. It would have been nice. Obviously, I do enjoy modeling, and to go down the acting route would have been amazing too.
I know like in Asian culture, like a lot of the mindset is like rooted in like scarcity mindset, but you're obviously rooted in very abundance mindset. So I think that's really awesome. I'm kind of curious too, like as you're like going through all these life experience, being an actor, an athlete, businessman, why'd you settle on business, and why did it feel right to you to like settle down in business and give up like modeling and acting?
So, I like to I always thought like finding a balance of like passion and success, is really important. You can't just be like, all right, well, I love doing this every day, but I can't make a good living out of it. It's unrealistic. And then the same on the other side. So, I found myself being very passionate about creating new things. I found slow and small success in it, and it's getting bigger and bigger. So I just want to keep pushing that. There's a lot of what ifs, you could always be like, oh, what if I tried this? What if I tried that? But, you got to go 100% in the direction that you're currently going in, not have one foot in the other. I guess, from the entertainment, like the personal entertainment standpoint, that's what I use, Instagram and TikTok for, just for fun and just to showcase like my personality, just have fun with it. And that's like my taste of like that side of life. But I get excited about the small things, the small successes that we have with Wild Entertainment and Kapsul Collective now. Feels so happy to say like, oh, we did a campaign with Amber Liu, a month ago, and now we got Nikon coming out, and there's going to be more coming, and it's all the stuff that I can get excited about, and I feel proud about all these type of stuff too. So
speaking about like Wild Entertainment, what is next for you guys, and what are your goals for the rest of 2021 and ongoing 2022?
I just want to know like how it has grown too, because, from you starting Wild Entertainment, the root came from the fact that you knew that there were so many talented creators in Southeast Asia that didn't have like the right home to express themselves as creators. Right. And you created it like a year ago in 2020, and it's been
August 2020, almost
August 2020. It seems like it's been around for a while, a long time because it's grown so big, but I want to know like from your perspective, how it has grown for you.
Is there any point where you looked yourself in the mirror like, God damn, what am I doing? That's entrepreneurship in a nutshell.
No, there hasn't been a point where I've looked in the mirror and said, God damn, what am I doing? There hasn't been in the mirror where I've said, God damn, good job, man. Like the points where I said that.
Yeah.
It comes down to like, it's only been a year, but it comes down to one initiative and also the team that I put together. You know, I needed a lot of help in terms of like, you know, solidifying the network I had around in terms of talents to bring in terms of PR companies, marketing companies, brands that I wanted to work with, production teams as well, you know. To give you a quick rundown, here's where we're at right now. Like an update for August 2021. We're at about 52 talents. All right, 52 talents, and those talents are, you know, content creators, artists, singers. Total, that's what we have, and it's scattered. We have like maybe 5 in the Philippines, 6 in Malaysia, 4 in Indonesia, 3 in everyone's everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we're also a production house. So I have 3 production teams, one that does a lot of good YouTube videos, one that does music videos, and one does documentaries, like, you know, for every type of production that may come our way. And more importantly, the staff, you know, I honestly, I hope they see this, because like they make my life so much easier and they take so much stress off me. Every staff member that has come into Wild, and we're at like eight staff members now. Every staff member, I haven't like put up a job posting. I haven't been seeking out for them. These were people that came and messaged me directly on Instagram or Wild or LinkedIn and said, hey, I'm looking for work and I'd like to learn this and I'd like to do this.
Yeah.
And people who came to me and asked me for that experience, I invested a lot of my time to make sure that they got the best working experience and they learned really quickly because they wanted to be part of this team. I didn't ask anyone. Right. And their work ethic was really good. They have initiative. They learn fast because they want to be here. And that was like the main thing that I think helped us over the last year. And yeah, we've stuck to like goals of like having, all right, 1 talent per week. Like we're taking in 1 new talent per week. You know, we're going to start a YouTube channel and we want to hit, you know, 50,000 subscribers by, you know, 3-4 months. And we set targets and goals, and everyone works very hard to try and reach these goals. So now we have 2 YouTube channels too. You know, one is for fun for the Wild Talents. And I think that's on 40,000, which is good for like the last 4 months is what we've had. And we also acquired a YouTube channel called Life by Wild.
Oh, wow.
And the Life channel has 330,000 subscribers. And that does a lot of cultural content, you know, much like, actually there's not much like it, but it's like a lot of Southeast Asian cultural content.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
It's amazing, man. It's really inspirational hearing all of this come together. And I think it's sometimes crazy that the universe is always trying to help you out when you want to reach your goal so bad, is that people reach out to you, opportunities present themselves to you, but you yourself, you're so receptive of these opportunities and you're so aware, you know, so a lot of credit to you. And, you know, the way you were telling your story made it seem like it was so easy, but it's not. You know, it's a lot of blood, sweat, and happy faces, apparently, because you never cried. Yeah, so I love that.
Yeah, I love it. It just goes to show, you know, how much work you put into it, because it's really hard to grow so fast in such a short amount of time, you know, and it shows a lot of dedication and courage and hard work. And we know that because like AHN started about like a year and a half ago, and it's hard. It's definitely hard to grow so fast, so quickly. So
yeah, if you're ever looking for a modeling gig or hiring someone, to be our Asian hustler man, because obviously you're an Asian hustler. You do a lot of things, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So what is next for you, and as well as Wealth Entertainment, and your jewelry line as well?
Okay. I'll start with Kapsul. Kapsul, we plan to, so up to date, we've done a ton of collaborations, but we're going to put out our own jewelry line. It's about time. So we're going to put out our own jewelry line, and hopefully that'll happen before the end of this year. We have a couple of more campaigns lined up too, which is really exciting. I think, the audience that we've built around Kapsul Collective, they're always just like anticipating and wondering who's going to be next, which is fun. So the Kapsul, that's where me and my partners plan to take it. And for Wild Entertainment, that's really the one that's taking 90% of my time at this point. But music, we're going to be producing a lot of music. We're going to be taking on and managing a lot of new artists as well. So that's going to be really big. And we're going to enter the music space very, very soon. So it's going to be more than content creators. We're going to have a department for a lot of musicians, music producers, and hopefully athletes. I really want to take in some athletes as well, because that's just because it's cool. I really like it. Yeah.
That's really different. So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to be a holistic hybrid entertainment group. And I call it a hybrid entertainment group because we have, certain artists and creators that we 360 manage. And then we also have a lot of, artists that are just with us for the agency side. They just want to be part of this community, and they like the brand. And, I want to grow the Wild brand to be a very reputable brand across Asia, and then also linking with hopefully North America. So we'll see how we go. We have a couple of big strategic partnerships that, we're going to be discussing. And for a whole number, by the end of this year, I want to have 100 creators signed to Wild.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You got this, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What would you see that? We'll have a little Facebook Live event at the end of the year. Be like, you actually hit 200.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very exciting goals. I mean, I love that you're expanding into athletes as well, and it's so relevant right now because Olympics and everyone is, getting to know so many athletes, and you're really, expanding and opening up your options. So I love that. Yeah. So we have one more question for you, Leonard, and that is, if you could give an advice to an aspiring entrepreneur, what would that one advice be?
Oh, I'm trying to think of something that's not cliche. You know what I mean? Like typical, work hard.
I feel like everyone says that. Like, I'm trying to think of something cliche.
Yeah, I don't want to say work hard. I mean, obviously work hard. All right. Okay, you probably got this before, but still it's a little bit different. Like always think. All right, the first thing as an entrepreneur is to know your own value. Okay, because whenever you're doing business, whenever you are pitching a product, whatever a product, a service, or anything, it comes down to you, and you're always going to be selling something, all right, whether it's yourself or a product or anything. So knowing your own value is so important because it gives you that confidence, all right, in what you're saying. And if you know your value, you're more confident in what you're trying to do, all right, and you know which direction to head in. Like if I had, for example, if I had no connections or network or anything in this business, this wouldn't be the right business for me. But knowing my value that I bring to the table, that that I know surpasses 99% of the other people, I know that this is a valid opportunity for me. And knowing your value, and everyone has a value, everyone is good at something. All right. Not necessarily the best, but everyone can do something. And if you know your value, you should push in that direction. That wasn't cliche? That was not.
No, that
okay.
was not cliche. I actually don't think we've ever gotten that one before.
Yeah. But surprisingly, we never heard anyone say know your value.
I do. I do have to say that is a very CEO mindset of a management company advice, because a lot of creators and artists, they don't know their value. And so they don't put themselves out there. But it's really important that you say that, because as soon as you know your value, you can gain that confidence and you can, go out there and, get more work. That's really, really important to just like getting your foot in the door.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I love that. So Leonard, where can we find more information about you online and more about Kapsul Collective and about Wild Entertainment?
Okay, you can follow me on Instagram at it's Leonard Lim. I used to have a website, but I took that down because, that was, I don't need my own personal modeling website anymore. So it's at It's Leonard Lim on Instagram. I'm on TikTok too, if you want to see some, funny videos, like that's just for fun. For Kapsul, it's kapsulcollective.com. And on Instagram, it's at Kapsul Collective. And for Wild Entertainment, it's www.teamwildent.com. And on Instagram, we're at @signedbywild.
Awesome.
We will leave all of those notes in our show notes. Thank you so much, Leonard, for coming on to our show. It was awesome hearing your story today.
Thank you, Leonard. Appreciate you.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please subscribe to the show.
We would like to get to the top 10 on iTunes, so be sure to leave us a 5-star review. We release an episode every single Wednesday, so stay tuned.
Thank you guys so much.